stepper motor, you've got these dip switches over here. If someone plays around with this, it might affect how the carriage moves. Larry here from Southern Savannah, and today we are here to talk about our era of the week. Um, it's funny how in this business, you realize that sometimes I don't know how it happens, but we've realized that when one era starts popping up, we usually end our week with three or four, sometimes five clients having the same issue. I don't know how that works, whether it's superstition or it's I don't know what it is. But today we're here to talk about our era of the week, which is cut era. I think this week we attended to about three, four clients that had the same error, and two of them was the same thing, and the others it was a different thing. And the reason for that is cut error has got is actually caused by a number of things. So to simplify it, cut error is basically carriage error. It's caused by anything that prohibits your carriage from moving, on the x-axis as you print. So anything that prohibits your carriage from moving usually is recorded as cut error on your machine's control panel. So I'm just going to quickly go through some of the common things that cause it and what you need to look out for to help you troubleshoot, quickly and figure out what it is. So, number one, when you talk about, cut error and what prohibits the carriage from moving, you think about how does the carriage move from point A to point B? Obviously, there's a motor involved, and what we've realized is that some machines come with what's called a DC motor, and some come with a servo motor. And let me just show you the differences. Um, so on most Chinese brands, large format printers, you will most likely find something that looks like this. There we go. So this is your DC motor. This is what it looks like. All right. So this is what moves your carriage left, right. Yeah. And then you get a motor that looks something like this. That's your stepper motor, and that's got a stepper driver attached to it. And it just depends, from supplier to supplier. Some supply machines that have got this type of motor, some that have got the other type of motor. So in most cases, you realize that these wear out eventually over time. And when that happens and your motor starts giving in, you start getting that error. And unfortunately, you need to have a spare one to test to see if it is the motor, because there is unless it's making a weird noise and it's overheating, then you could probably uh, um, uh, identify the problem immediately. And also in the case of your stepper motor, you've got these dip switches over here. If someone plays around with this, it might affect how the carriage moves. And normally you'll get an alarm. It's got an alarm light over here. When this flashes red, you're most likely going to get an error and the carriage stops moving. So those are some of the quickest, things, to check for. Check for the alarm light if you've got a servo motor, or just, touch it, feel it. Is it overheating? Sometimes that usually gives it away. All right. Then secondly, as your carriage moves, I'm sure you've noticed there's a linear rail on your carriage, and um, on that linear rail, you've got this runner block or linear bearing that where your carriage is attached to. So this also gets faulty most times. So how do you check if it's working or if it's broken? Normally turn off the machine and manually move it by hand. It should move smoothly. But if it's hard and it's you're facing some difficulties to push your carriage left right, then this is usually broken and you might just need to replace this. All right. Okay, and in some cases, um, it could be your encoder strip. Some call it a grating belt, and this basically tells the carriage where it is along the x and y axis, the length of your printer. So here's how it gets damaged. Sometimes it comes out of the rail, and the reader usually scratches it and breaks it. So if it's scratched, it might also register as an error on the machine. If it's dirty, let's say some ink somehow finds itself on the reader, you also get that error. So there are a number of things that you could check. So you can start with your motors, check your encoder strip, check also the reader itself. What happens is sometimes if it's not installed correctly, um, it rubs against the strip, and over time it wears out or wears out the strip. So you need to check that as well. And also sometimes you just need to clean it. Let's say it's now dirty. You just need to clean it, get an earbud, dip it or dampen it in isopropyl alcohol, and then clean it and put it back and try again. That could be the problem. So the sensor I'm talking about is something that looks like this. So some call it an optical sensor, some call it an encoder reader, but it is the same thing. So if you look inside it, you see something that looks like a light um, uh, um, fixture in there, and when it's actually active, it turns red. It lights up red, and it's really difficult to get in there to clean, but sometimes that's what's required to get it to work again. You need to clean it, find ways of cleaning it, getting in there and cleaning it, and then just popping it back in. And that might save you, you know, a huge amount of downtime because sometimes technicians are not always available to assist. And these are some of the things you could, some pre checks you can do while you wait. Sometimes, if you find that it is the sensor, you order the part and replace it yourself. And then you save yourself on time, downtime, and, you get back on track with your client's orders. Okay, so there are other parts also that you can also look at. However, it's parts that we recommend that a technician, qualified technician, can check for you. Things like your carriage board itself, it might get faulty. Electronically, probably it gets damaged. Maybe you don't have a stabilizer, and it gets damaged by over voltage. That could happen. Um, your power supply that powers your motors. Um, you need to check your power supply. Make sure that your 40 volt or 42 volt power supply is actually supplying 42 volts. Check. On your DC motor, you could actually just check on the motor itself. Go that side, see if it is receiving the required voltage, and yeah, obviously you're going to need a multimeter and somebody qualified to do it. And that is also why we give training, operator training, where we teach basic maintenance to your operators. So I really think that it's something that as a business owner, you want to invest in your staff or operators so that they don't end up, damaging the machines and costing you as well in the long run, with repeated downtime, things that you could probably fix by yourself without having to call us out. Yeah. So yeah, in a nutshell, I'd say those are most of the basic things that really um, are responsible for cut error. However, if the problem persists, don't hesitate to call us, and then we all obviously come through, bring parts, and help you sort it out. As I mentioned, that this week alone, we attended to I think about 3 to 4 clients, and the 2 clients, it was the motor. that was faulty. So we just replaced the motor and the belt, the drive belt. That's short belt that runs from the motor to the pulley that then drives the carriage. And then in another instance, it was your linear bearing or runner block, call it runner block. Some call it a runner block that needed to be replaced. So, yeah. And yeah, you might find that in some cases, um, you will get an error 34, which is a lot similar to your cut error. The difference is that in this case, this is definitely the carriage board that will be faulty, that needs to be replaced. Your machine will fail to initialize and throw maybe error 34 after a while. So you need to probably, if you go on our website or maybe online and Google common errors, error codes for Chinese wide format printers, you probably get a list of the errors and the descriptions, and that's something that you could probably just keep, you know, so that at least when you call, you know exactly what it is and what to expect and what to check for. Yeah, so yeah, that's it for today, guys. Join us probably next week again as we discuss another common problem and how to solve it, how to troubleshoot, just to help you stay or get back to your printing in time. All right, thanks. Cheers. Bye.